very much. Thanks very much, Nathan. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here this afternoon. And again, congrats to ETHI and the Trade Commission for putting on such a great event. I actually lived in Israel in the 80s and I studied there, and I must say it's a real pleasure and privilege for me to be here today, so thank you. I thought I'd spend the next 15 minutes or so talking a bit about social media, LinkedIn, how to leverage your profiles, how to build a better profile. But what I thought I'd start off by doing is talking about some of the insights we get from all the great data on LinkedIn. So we're privy to having 400 million members' profiles on LinkedIn. It gives us a lot of data, a lot of insights. So we crunched the data on all of you, and I'm going to share some of those insights with you. It's only the good stuff. There's nothing to get embarrassed about, trust me. Earliest adopters. So we were founded around 2002, 2003. So earliest adopters who joined the platform first in this audience, Mike Zimmerman, Jonathan, and Simon were very early adopters around 2003. I would hazard a guess they probably were in the first 1 million to 5 million members on LinkedIn. So obviously a lot of foresight about what was about to happen to the industry. And then we have the most connected, i.e. who has the largest network, the largest professional network on LinkedIn. I thought I was well connected until I saw these numbers. Jonathan out there with 12,200. I would imagine everyone in this room is connected with him. Alan Feltz, Chemi Perez, all up there with well over 5,000. But that's an amazing number of connections on LinkedIn. There's more? You thought it's more? Okay. But remember on LinkedIn, it's all about quality of connections, not quantity. So we do. So if you're chasing the connections, rather look at the quality of your audience. Most endorsed. On the platform, you have the ability to get endorsed by your connections as well. It seems Jonathan just does everything well. His name just comes up again and again, but he's the most endorsed person in the room as well. Sebastian, Raz Shorev, well over 1,000 endorsements. And most popular. So the way we define most popular is whose profile has been viewed the most within the last 30 days on the platform. And guess whose name comes up yet again? Yes, Jonathan Medved is there, as is Andrew Penn, as is Roy. So these things come and go, obviously, in terms of profile views, depending on whether you do a big blog post during the month or lots of status updates, etc. But that just gives you some insight into the kinds of information that we've got on LinkedIn. In looking at all your profiles, by the way, I didn't look at everyone, but I got a view. It kind of represents a lot of audiences we present at. We've got 1 or 2 people in the audience with 1 connection. I'm not quite sure how you only get 1 connection, but someone in the stream's got 1 connection. And all the way up to Jonathan over there with 12,000. The average, by the way, in this room is over 900 connections. Average profile in this room. It's pretty high. So the photo up there, a lot of you would recognize. It's Reid Hoffman. Reid is widely acclaimed to be the founder of LinkedIn. He's our chairman today. He founded the platform around 2002, having just exited from PayPal with a number of his colleagues. And his vision at the time was to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. And that's basically our mission statement still today. It hasn't changed. And the key word in that statement is the word professional. It's what differentiates us from every other social network out there, is that word professional. He comes up with the most amazing quotes and the most amazing insights, as you'd expect. One of them, which I love and I kind of repeat often to my colleagues, is he said many years ago that we live in a day and age where every professional needs to think of themselves as their own chief marketing officer and has to brand themselves out there, because no one else is going to do it for you if you don't. So Reid very quickly saw how to build his own brand, how to enhance his brand and develop it, and then develop a very extensive network. He's obviously a well-networked guy. How he leveraged his network to build LinkedIn, he built talent. He built the most amazing network of talent around him. He got mentors, investors on board, customers, partners, all via the network and his own personal brand. And what we also see from the insights and the data on LinkedIn is that entrepreneurs globally have 2 times more connections than an average member. So entrepreneurs obviously recognize the power of all this. We've also seen an amazing increase in executives and CEOs coming on board the platform. So in 2010, there was a study by Weber Shandwick where they saw that about 36% of CEOs they interviewed were on LinkedIn. By 2015, that had grown to 80% of CEOs and executives having a LinkedIn profile. And that phenomenal increase has resulted in a phenomenal growth in LinkedIn. We're now adding members at the rate of 2 members per second worldwide. There's well over 400 million members around the globe. One of the local success stories of an executive coming on board and embracing LinkedIn and bringing his company on board the platform as well is Mike Smith, the CEO of ANZ Bank. It's all his household name over here. About 2 or 3 years ago, ANZ Bank actually blocked LinkedIn and all other social media platforms at the bank. You literally went to work and you could not access LinkedIn at ANZ Bank. And most of the exec team, including Mike Smith, did not have a LinkedIn profile. So Mike Smith, to his credit, and the exec team and some of the board members got on a plane and they actually went to Silicon Valley. And one of the companies I visited was our head office in Mountain View, and they spent a half day with our exec team over there, including our CEO, Jeff Weiner. For Mike Smith, he came back and he actually said it was a light bulb moment for him. He literally came back, he flicked the switch on for 50,000 employees to start embracing LinkedIn. He also sent out an email to all 50,000 employees saying, please get on the platform, build your LinkedIn profiles. He gave them guidelines on how to build the profiles to represent the bank and themselves properly. And he also signed up to be one of our global influencers. So worldwide, we have 500 global influencers on our platform, and they write content specifically for our members. So he joins a very pedigreed list, including Bill Gates, Sir Richard Branson, David Thodey was an influencer. He handed it over to Andy Penn recently. So Andy Penn is now blogging on the platform as well, which is great to see. And we have a number of other Australian big influencers as well, including the CEO of Qantas. So I talked a bit about our stats, 400 million members worldwide. It translates to over 7 million members in Australia. When we look at penetration levels and the professional audience that we're targeting, 7 million members is 95% plus penetration of professionals in Australia. It means pretty much every single professional in Australia is on the LinkedIn platform. And we mirror that in many countries around the globe, including the USA, UK, New Zealand, Singapore, etc., with very high penetration rates. Interesting for a lot of you, over 50% of the page views on the LinkedIn platform are on mobile devices. Smartphones, iPads, etc. And that's an increasing trend. We just see that increase every month. So I was trying to work out how to cleanly describe LinkedIn to everyone. And a nice way to think about it is there's 2 key communities on LinkedIn. There's a member community, which is all of you in your own professional individual capacities. And then there's a company community, which leverages all the data being generated on LinkedIn by you as members. What are our members doing, i.e. what are you all doing? You're connecting, you're staying informed, and you're getting hired. A nice way to think of that is members are signing onto the platform to get their profiles, then to build their profiles, start developing a big network, a quality network, and then starting to get insights and to share insights. So moving from a passive to an active profile on LinkedIn is the step from having a profile to actually working your profile and doing status updates and blogging and getting a message and leveraging your voice out there. And then companies. So in Australia, over 80% of the ASX 100 are now leveraging our platform. And how are companies leveraging it? Well, basically, I mean, it's another whole session, but companies are using LinkedIn to transform the way they hire, market, and sell. And we're seeing companies come on board very fast, obviously. It could be small business owners, it could be entrepreneurs, it could be companies like Telstra, it could be staffing agencies. Obviously, a lot of recruiters are using the platform as well. So I thought I'd give you a couple of insights as to how to build a good profile. I took a snapshot of my profile recently and I put it up on the screen. For those of you who haven't got a good professional looking photo of yourselves on your LinkedIn profile, it's actually vitally important. A good professional photo on LinkedIn will give you 14 times more page views than anything else. So if you've got a selfie on your profile, if you've got yourself with your kids and family at a ski resort, if you haven't got a profile, those are all the things not to do. Go and get yourself a professional looking photo, represent yourself in the best possible professional light. It's actually vitally important. We actually have companies where they hire professional photographers and get the whole company through the professional photographer to get their photos updated. If you haven't got a photo, and I notice some of you don't have photos, by the way, it actually leads people to suspect what are you hiding, and it says incomplete profile. My view on profile completeness, by the way, that mine's obviously 100% completed. My view on it is if you're going to represent yourself online, and you're going to represent yourself in a professional capacity online, why do it half-heartedly? Either do it well or don't do it at all. And it's not a huge time investment to get a good profile going. What is a time investment is to nurture that profile, to get the endorsements, to get the recommendations, to do status updates, and to blog on the platform as well. Google plays a major role in this of what I just said. The more complete your profile, and the more updated and current it is, the higher your chance of appearing number one on a Google search result. I do a Google search on my own name every 2 weeks without fail. And I want to make sure that how I appear on a Google search result. Because I know that in today's world, just as we all checking up hotel reviews or restaurant reviews, people are searching on your name every single day, every single week. And you want to know how you're appearing on that Google search result. Without an incomplete LinkedIn profile, anything could appear on that Google search result, including how you appear on non-professional social networking sites. And all of you know, some of the photos that appear on non-professional networking sites don't always paint you in the best professional light. So it's something to think about. It's something to also teach your kids about if they're starting to enter the workforce. What I do on the LinkedIn platform, and it's a great idea, we're now generating about 130,000 new pieces of content by our members every single week. But amazing amounts of content are being developed. I've published 13 blog posts on LinkedIn. I do it for 2 key reasons. Long-form blog posts. I actually publish articles. I'm using it as a blogging platform. I do it to demonstrate my thought leadership on certain topics. And I also do it to showcase the company at which I'm working. Because I want people to think of LinkedIn as the best possible place to work. And as executives and as leaders in our industries and in our companies, when people think of your company as a potential place to work, they end up on your profiles. And they want to make sure that you are someone they want to work with and for. And that's a lot of the reason I'm doing this. So I've written blog posts on things like building rapport, golden rules to great CEO conversations, advice for budding entrepreneurs. So there's many things you can write about. And it's a great thing to actually get your content and your voice out on the platform. This is how it was leveraged in a real-life situation recently. You all heard the case about the Wall Street Journal publishing, or New York Times actually, they published this article on Amazon, which was a scathing review on Amazon. And Jeff Bezos actually woke up to this, and obviously he was mortified because that's not the company he wants to have a brand of. What happened though following that article was one of his employees went to LinkedIn and published an article saying this is what it's really like to work at Amazon. And he published that on LinkedIn. Jeff Bezos then sent an email around to all his staff saying if you haven't read the New York Times article, read it, but be critical of the article. And here's a real-life example from someone in our company who just published a blog post on LinkedIn that represents what it's really like. That was one of the most viewed and read articles on LinkedIn that week. Another great example here about a power profile in Australia, a guy called Craig McDonald, runs a company, and he wrote a blog post on how he's leveraged his network to expand his company around the globe. I could go on and on with examples. I'm cognizant of time. It starts blinking red at you over here, which is quite disturbing. Guys, I'll leave you with some final thoughts, obviously. Obviously, I'd love to connect with all of you, so please send me a connection request. It's how you build up a great network. It's always great to customize your connection request, by the way. Don't just send out, I want to connect with you. Put some context into the connection request. Build your brand, leverage your network, get your voice out there, and I look forward to seeing you all on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Cliff. I'll take the clicker. Thank you. Sure, thanks, Cliff. Cliff's going to be running a workshop later, similar to this, but to do with Ashley Madison. So if you want to see who's up and down, and You might have seen me running backwards and forwards to Chemi down here. He's saying to me, 5,000, how do I catch that Medved guy at 12? Get your sister to look at me. Let me introduce Chemi. I think Chemi's very well known to almost every single person in the room. Chemi Perez is the managing general partner and co-founder of Bitengo. They have 1.6 billion under management. He sits on the boards of many listed companies and investments. Chemi, please.